So we've heard a lot of good testimonies or a lot of good information from Justin tonight, but I want to tell you something that I'm passionate about. It's carrying an overdose reversal kit and carrying Narcan. Narcan saves lives. People do recover, but people can't recover if they're not breathing. Overdose death in 2020 was the highest it's ever been. We averaged 256 deaths a day, and that doesn't include all the non-fatal overdoses. We are losing a whole generation of people. The highest number of opioid overdose ever in history. The highest number of stimulant overdose ever in history. The highest number of fentanyl overdose, fentanyl poisoning. It's in all the drug supply. You do not have to have the disease of addiction to overdose, but definitely anybody who uses opioids or uses any drugs that they get illegally are at risk for overdose. We need concerned community people to carry it. I see some people out there. One lady I talked to earlier, she's administered Narcan at least, or been involved in a Narcan situation at least 25 times. She's a hero. People that carry Narcan save lives. The Tennessee Save a Life program, since we started this program in October 2017, people like you taking this training have saved over 26,000 lives in the state of Tennessee. Narcan, we have and since we started the program, 26 law enforcement in the 13 counties of the Upper Cumberland carrying a lock zone. A lot of times our law enforcement are our first responders, and they weren't carrying before 2017. Fire departments, rescue squads, businesses, concerned citizens, family members. But I want to talk to people. The people that we need the most to carry Narcan are people who are at risk for overdose. Colby and I do not care your background. We don't drug test you. We're not going to ask you questions. We are going to train you how to administer Narcan. We want people who use drugs, people in recovery, people who love people at risk for overdose to carry Narcan. I'm passionate about it. Narcan's not a new drug. It's been around since 1961. It's been FDA approved since 1971. I've been a registered nurse since 1986. It's in every crash cart. Narcan saves lives. It restores breathing. It's not treatment for substance use disorder. It restores breathing to people that have opioid-induced respiratory depression. So if you can do something tonight, is listen to this training, learn how to give it. It's simple. What we have in our kits is a prepackaged, pre-filled nasal spray. You can also give it intramuscular. If you want to know how to do that, I'm not going to train tonight on how to do that to everybody, but just come over there and I'll be glad to train you on it. If you're a person in recovery, a person in early recovery, I want to talk to you about a safety plan. Ask me about it. I don't want you to use drugs alone. I want you to make a promise to yourself, to God, to me, to whoever loves you, that you will let someone know if you have a return to use. There's things that you can do, but the only 100% way not to overdose is not to use drugs. But Narcan can restore breathing when it's given in time. I think the number one thing people want to know is, can it hurt somebody? What if it's not an overdose? What if it's not opioids? It does nothing. It won't hurt someone that's had an overdose on anti-anxiety medication. It won't hurt someone that's having a heart attack. You can't hurt somebody by giving it. Tennessee law protects you. We know a lot of overdose deaths are found alone. We know they didn't use alone. All those myths out there, putting them in water, giving them stimulants, giving them caffeine, making them vomit, it doesn't work. The only thing that reverses an opioid overdose is Narcan administered to that person quickly. Because 3 minutes without oxygen, you're going to have brain damage. 5 to 6 minutes, you're going to have death. Time is critical. So even though EMS, our hospitals, our law enforcement carry it, the odds of them getting to somebody in less than 3 minutes are slim. So the laws protect you. How many people know that if you're having an overdose and it's your first one, you will not be arrested, charged, or prosecuted for that personal drug use? Tennessee Addiction Treatment Act gives you that protection. How many people know anyone who seeks medical assistance will not be arrested for their personal drug use? They won't violate, they won't be charged. We need people to call. It's a reversible cause of death. Administer Narcan, call 911. And we're not going to give it to people that are high or over-medicated. We're going to wait till it's life and death. And how we're going to know that? It's simple. They're unresponsive. If you know the person, call them by name, give them a shake. We don't want to Narcan somebody that's just got a heavy nod. We're going to shake them, call them by name. The next thing, if we don't know the person, I see somebody over here leaned out of their vehicle, I'm going to go up to that person and I'm going to say, are you okay? I'm worried about you. I have Narcan. They wake up and talk to me, they're not unresponsive. I'm not going to hit them with Narcan as long as they're speaking to me because they're not unresponsive. If they don't wake up, inside this kit, there's 2 pair of gloves. Put that pair of gloves on and I'm going to do a sternal rub. You're going to rub with your knuckles right here on the breastbone. People don't wake up from a sternal rub. They're unconscious. That's a medical emergency. And I'm going to look at one of 3 things. Are they breathing? Is their chest moving? If they're not breathing, I'm going to open up my kit. I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to place this nozzle in their nose, and I'm going to push this plunger, and I'm going to call 911. Maybe their chest is moving some, but their lips and their fingernail beds are blue, purple, gray, or black. They are not getting enough oxygen. I'm going to administer Narcan. I'm going to call 911. And this one's really important. I know people that have seen this and did not administer Narcan. If people are making a gaspy, choking, gurgling, snoring sound, not a normal snore like a pet child's spouse, that is called the death rattle. It is agonal respirations. Administer Narcan, call 911. When you call 911, they're going to start asking you a bunch of questions. You don't know the person, you probably don't know the answers. Answer them the best they can. Give them the GPS address. Give them a landmark if you're in public. Don't leave the person alone. They're going to ask you if the person has a pulse. The best place to check for a pulse is in the carotid artery. If you've gotten to them in time, the heart's probably still beating. If you're physically able, roll that person over on their side. It's called the recovery position. It has nothing to do with the Narcan working, because Narcan knocks those opioids off the pain receptors. But people a lot of times vomit. It keeps them from aspirating and choking. If they don't have a pulse, they need CPR. If you're willing to do CPR and you don't know it, the compression CPR, they will walk you through it. They need to be on a flat, firm surface. You're going to do compression CPR. There's 2 doses in every kit. You can give Narcan every 2 to 3 minutes. You can keep giving it. Unfortunately, fentanyl is causing us to use 4, 5, 6 doses of Narcan to bring somebody back. You can't overdose somebody on nasal spray Narcan if you call EMS. The Good Samaritan Law protects you from any civil liability. Anybody that administers this is protected. Sometimes you can keep giving it till somebody wakes up and starts breathing or till EMS arrives. When people wake up, if they're opioid dependent, they're going to be in terrible withdrawal. They're going to feel terrible. They're going to be disoriented. They won't remember. Try to stay calm. The people usually aren't real happy. They will be eventually one day. But just stay calm. Tell them, you stop breathing. I gave you Narcan. I called 911. I'm sorry if you feel bad. You really should go to the hospital. If you go to the hospital, they'll give you something for withdrawal. Do not use drugs for at least 2 to 3 more hours, because Narcan's going to sit on those pain receptors. That's how it works. It knocks the opioids off and it sits on them. When they wears off in 30 to 90 minutes, the opioids can reattach. People can stop breathing again. As long as Narcan is on the pain receptor, you're going to be in withdrawal. You will be for 30 to 90 minutes till it wears off. But don't use again. It's dangerous. So a lot of times people don't want to go to the hospital. They're afraid. But remember, the Tennessee law protects you from the first overdose. They will treat your withdrawal. It's not the same thing as drug seeking in the emergency room. And hopefully get people stabilized, referred to treatment. This is FDA approved for age 2 and up. You can give it to pregnant women. Some people ask me, how do you inhale that nose spray if you're not breathing? The nasal mucosa is really vascular. If there's any circulation at all, even CPR, it will cause the Narcan to absorb and knock the opioids off your pain receptors. That's how it works. Does anybody have any questions? Just holler them out. We have kits for people. Pharmacies have naloxone. Doctors can prescribe it. But regional overdose prevention specialists across the state of Tennessee can get kits to people that need it. We want people to carry it. The Surgeon General encourages people to carry Narcan. And since we started this program just in the Upper Cumberland, we've given out 8,884 doses of Narcan since October 2017. I don't know how many lives are saved, but I hear people tell me every week now, So the Narcan that they've gotten from me or another ropes or from Colby has saved a life. So it's not us saving the lives. It's the people being willing to take the training, people at the coalition, our law enforcement that carry it, all your law enforcement here in DeKalb County, your sheriff's department, Smithville City Police and Alexandria Police all carry Narcan. They've administered it. They've saved lives too. Our recovery courts allow us to do training. Our county mayors let us do training. Over there, we set up a tent when we had an outbreak here in December, in March, I guess. It was an outbreak in March. So call us, let us know if you use your kit. I'm going to ask you 4 things. Are you okay? Because it's scary. Did they survive? They were male or female? In what county? I'll never ask you who overdosed, the address of the overdose, or why you were there. So please, nobody who's at risk or feels a feeling that they need to get a kit tonight, don't anybody leave without one. Thank y'all. Proud of everybody in recovery, too.